Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
The rainbow. It was a rainy summer day. Dolly the ladybird and Berry the snail sat sadly underneath a giant leaf. Then the sun came out and the sky was blue again. But the shower didn't stop, and soon a colourful rainbow stretched across the sky. "It's beautiful!" they shouted. Berry thought it would be a good idea to climb up the rainbow and slide down on the other side. But his first try didn't work. "I think I'll try from the other side," he said. "Trust me, you can't climb a rainbow," Dolly said to the excited snail. But then Berry came up with a new plan. "I'll use a ladder." "Oh, Berry, I don't think it's a good idea," Dolly said anxiously. Dolly was right, and Berry was angry. Dolly tried to distract her friend. "Come and play something else." But Berry still didn't give up. "Look, Dolly, I'm sure I can jump on top of it from here." But that idea didn't work either. Dolly ran over to Berry. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine," Berry sulked. Berry was very sad, and Dolly tried everything to cheer him up. "I got you some flowers," she said kindly, but Berry couldn't be comforted. Then the rain dried up and the rainbow disappeared. They walked home hand in hand, and Dolly said nice things to the little snail. "Chin up, Berry. It's your birthday the day after tomorrow, and I'm sure you'll get some super presents." Dolly had a great idea when she got home. "I'll make a rainbow slide for Berry's birthday," she said to herself. "Then his dream can come true and he can slide down a rainbow." Balthazar the bee and Flutter the butterfly helped her. Balthazar, Dolly and Flutter painted the slide with colourful paint, wrapped it in yellow paper and tied it up with a blue ribbon. The three friends even baked a cake for Berry. When the time came, Balthazar and Flutter took Berry to Dolly's house, where everything was ready for the birthday party. "Let's give him his presents," yelled Balthazar, and Dolly gave Berry the chocolate cake. "A real rainbow! A rainbow slide! Can I try the slide?" "Sure you can," Dolly replied. Berry liked the rainbow slide very much. He slid on it again and again. Flutter and Balthazar were so happy they started to dance. "You know, Dolly," said Berry, "it really is a nice present. Thank you." Lots of friends joined in the birthday celebrations. There was Leapy the grasshopper, Eddie the potato beetle, Zephyr the dragonfly, and even Stanley the stag beetle came. The little snail let everybody try his new slide. Berry, Dolly, and their friends played on the slide until it got dark. Berry went to bed very happy that day. "What a wonderful birthday I've had," he sighed with a smile.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
The missing nuts.
Hello, Berry. Hurry up.
Let's go and see Reggie Squirrel. We really should say goodbye to him before he hibernates for winter, Dolly the ladybird said. Berry put on his hat, scarf and gloves, and the two friends made their way to Reggie Squirrel's home. Their friend the squirrel was sitting on a branch in front of his home. We wanted to say goodbye before you snuggle up to sleep through the chilly winter.
Why don't you come up for a glass of juice and a quick nut snack? Reggie suggested. Look at all the yummy food I've gathered for winter. My pantry's full.
But the pantry was empty.
Oh my! Where have all my hazelnuts and walnuts gone? Where are my delicious pine cones, acorns and raisins?
I think this might be where the nuts rolled out, Berry said, pointing to a little hole in the corner of the pantry. Someone's been chewing the tree trunk, Dolly said in surprise. And I think I know who it was, the little snail added. Don't worry, Reggie. We'll catch the troublemakers and find your nuts.
And don't forget the pine cones and acorns too,
the squirrel added. The two friends headed towards the big meadow. They heard loud laughter as they got closer. I knew it was them. They're always getting into some sort of trouble, Dolly whispered to Berry. I'm sure they're doing something naughty right now, Berry added. Someone chewed a hole in Reggie Squirrel's tree trunk right outside his pantry, and now all of his nuts are missing. It was you lot, wasn't it? But we didn't mean any harm. We were just chewing the bark like we always do, and we didn't know that his pantry was on the other side, the smallest bark beetle explained. What can we do to help? Come with us and we'll find the nuts that rolled away. We haven't got that much time. It could start to snow at any minute. We'll never be able to find his food in the snow, so hurry. They all took a close look at the tree trunk.
The nuts all rolled out here and then they fell to the ground and carried on rolling down the hill, Reggie explained.
The gang of friends found Reggie's goodies in a pile at the bottom of the hill.
Hooray!
Reggie shouted with delight.
Would you please bring all the food back to my home while I patch the hole up in my pantry?
Reggie told the bark beetles. They carefully placed the hazelnuts, walnuts and acorns back in his pantry. Berry and Dolly gave them a hand. They worked as fast as they could, but it got dark very quickly, and they still had a huge stack left at the bottom of the hill. We'll never finish in time, one of the bark beetles sighed. We could really use some extra help, another added. Berry the snail suddenly sprang to his feet and left in a hurry without saying a word. He was soon back and had a trumpet in his hand. He blew it so loudly that everybody could hear it. Soon all the friends in the forest gathered. Dolly climbed up on a big boulder and told them all what had happened to Reggie Squirrel's winter food supply. All the nuts rolled out of the hole. We've got to take the food back to Reggie's home. If you all help, it can be done before dark. Ready, set, go, Berry said, and he lifted a nut from the pile. He gave it to Dolly. She handed it to one of the bark beetles. The bark beetle gave it to the bee handed it to the dragonfly, and so it moved back up the hill to the squirrel's pantry. By the time the moon appeared in the sky, all the hazelnuts, acorns, walnuts and chestnuts were safely stowed away in Reggie Squirrel's winter home. Reggie happily put the last nut back in his packed pantry.
Thank you. I'm so glad I've got so many good friends. It's time for me to tuck myself up in bed before it starts snowing. See you again in spring.
The grateful squirrel yawned.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
Flutter goes skiing. On a winter day, Iris the ice beetle invited all her friends to go skiing. Has everyone got skis? She asked. I haven't, said Berry. And I haven't, Leapy the grasshopper girl joined in. Neither have I, Flutter the butterfly added. Then let's make some skis for you. It isn't hard, Iris said with a smile. The friends all joined in. They sawed and sanded thin planks of wood, fixed foot straps to them, and made poles for everyone, and the skis were finished by lunchtime. They all walked up the hill together. When they got to the top, they strapped on their skis and put on their ski helmets. Then Iris asked, "Does everyone know how to ski? I can teach anyone who doesn't." They all nodded except for Flutter. The little butterfly girl didn't know how to ski, but she didn't say anything. "It can't be all that hard. I'll soon get the hang of it," she thought to herself. She only dared whisper the truth to the green grub. Berry was the first to go. "Whoopee!" he shouted with a broad grin as he sped down the snowy hillside. Dolly came after Berry, and then Balthazar, and then the others. Flutter was the last one to set off. She took a deep breath and pushed herself off. The only problem was she didn't know how to stop. She carried on skiing over the next hill and then the hill after that until she had skied a very long way away from the others. The little butterfly girl only stopped when she fell over into a big pile of snow. It was a while before the others realised that Flutter was missing. "Flutter doesn't know how to ski," the green grub eventually told them. "She can't ski?" they all asked in surprise. "This was her first time. She was very nervous, but she didn't dare to mention it. Oh, I'm frightened that something terrible has happened to her." The friends set off to search for Flutter. Dr. Owl was flying past, and he spotted Flutter in the snow below.
Flutter, what happened to you?
He asked. "I couldn't stop, and I fell over in the snow. I really hurt myself. I thought I'd never be able to stop. I don't want to ski again," Flutter sobbed. Dr. Owl felt very sorry for the little butterfly girl, so he put her on his back and took her to his house.
"I'll bandage you up, and then I'll take you to Iris's house. I'm sure the others will be looking for you,"
Dr. Owl said in a reassuring voice. The little friends frantically searched around, but they couldn't find Flutter anywhere. They walked sadly back to Iris's house. But Flutter was waiting for them when they arrived. They were overjoyed. "Hooray! Are you all right, Flutter? Tell us what happened to you," Dolly told her. Flutter told them the whole story from beginning to end. "So you don't know how to ski?" Iris asked in surprise. "I'll teach you. You'll soon learn how to turn and stop, and you'll be able to ski down even the steepest hills." "Thank you," the butterfly girl said with a smile. Iris started to teach Flutter to ski the very next morning. By the end of the first day, the little butterfly girl could ski down small hills and stop safely at the bottom.
"Look! Flutter can ski! This calls for a celebration!"
Stanley shouted, and he started to play a tune on the icicles. The others sang and danced around the happy little butterfly. Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
Kindergarten. One autumn morning, Dolly knocked excitedly on Berry's door.
"Come quickly, Berry, or we'll be late."
Berry got ready and the two friends held hands and walked to the nursery together. Lots of little children were gathered in the playground. They were all so happy to see each other. There was Balthazar the bee, Flutter the butterfly, Stanley the stag beetle, Eddie the potato beetle, Zephyr the dragonfly, Alfonso the cricket, Leapy the grasshopper, and Bubble the baby beetle. Mrs. Bumblebee patiently guided everybody into their classrooms. The little, middle and top children went into different rooms. Bubble was in the little group. He waved to Berry and Dolly from the doorway. The day started with exercises. After breakfast, the children made beautiful pictures using the leaves they collected in the woods. When everybody had finished, Mrs. Bumblebee gathered the children in a circle. She taught them lots of songs and games. The children all danced around. Then it was playtime. Mrs. Bumblebee sat in a rocking chair and watched the children. Berry and the boys ran straight over to the car box and started playing cars. They built ramps and tunnels. "Can I join in, boys?" Dolly asked. She was holding a broken red car. "Oh no, Dolly, you can't play cars with that old thing," Berry told her. "And anyway, cars are for boys, not girls." That made Dolly cry. "The boys don't want to play with me," she told Flutter. Flutter, Leapy and Zephyr quickly cheered her up. "Come and play with us. We're playing with dolls." The girls dressed their dolls in pretty dresses, fed them and rocked them to sleep. Dolly liked this game a lot. Then Berry got into an argument with Morris the Maybug. "You keep knocking my car over. It's not fair. You're a cheat." "That's not true. You're a cheat," replied Morris. "That's it. I'm not playing with you anymore," Berry said sulkily and left the boys. "Can I join in your game?" Berry asked his friend Dolly. "You can't play with us. It's a girls' game," Dolly sulked. "But I brought this doll with me. It's got curly hair. I want to play with you." "All right. Come and play with us. But now you have to let me play cars with you."
"Children, time to wash your hands," Mrs. Bumblebee shouted. "Then go and sit down at the tables."
Mrs. Earwig, the dinner lady, dished up their dinner. When everybody had finished eating, Berry and Dolly collected up all the plates and glasses. Then the children had a little lie down while Mrs. Bumblebee read them a story. They all listened in silence, and a few of them fell fast asleep. When they got up, they all had a snack and went out into the playground. It was enormous and filled with all kinds of slides, climbing frames and swings, with a big wooden train in the middle. Berry and Morris quickly made friends again and played on the swings together. Dolly helped Bubble up the slide and caught him at the bottom. Bubble liked that a lot. The rest of the day flew by, and soon the children were waving goodbye to each other. They couldn't wait for tomorrow to come.
Berry and Dolly say, what will we learn today?
The Canary Chicks. One day, Christopher the Canary met Chloe and they fell in love. Chloe lived in an oak tree not far away from Dolly's house. The new couple built a nest on the most beautiful branch of the tree. Berry and Dolly watched them building their nest from the ground. "Look, Chloe's been sitting on the nest for days. Do you think she could be sick?" the little snail asked. "No, Berry. I'm sure she's going to lay eggs and they'll hatch into canary chicks," Dolly told him enthusiastically. "Eggs? Chicks?" Berry was confused. "Of course. Chloe will lay the eggs in the nest and she'll keep them warm until they hatch," the ladybird said. A few days later, Chloe stood up, and as she was arranging things in the nest, Berry noticed 3 tiny eggs. "3! There'll be 3 chicks," he said to Dolly cheerfully. One morning they heard tweeting coming from the oak tree. "Hooray!
The chicks have hatched, Dolly exclaimed and gave Berry a big hug. Can we take a look at them? Dolly asked Christopher excitedly. Of course you can, but please be careful. They're still very tiny, the proud daddy replied. Christopher let Berry and Dolly hop on his back and he flew them up to the nest. They're so cute, Dolly whispered. The snail and the ladybird carefully patted the baby canaries. The little birds grew very quickly and they were soon ready for flying lessons. Chloe was their teacher and they got better day by day. We've got to go and get some food. Be good, Christopher told the chicks one morning. And don't even think about flying out of the nest without us. You're still very small and you can only fly with us, Chloe added. But the smallest chick was rather naughty. Nonsense! I'm very good at flying. I'm going to try it on my own, he said and jumped out of the nest. You're not allowed! You're not allowed! Tweeted the other two, but they couldn't stop him. The two chicks were hopping nervously around the nest when their parents arrived back. He flew off! Our little brother flew off! They cried. Oh dear, but he's too small. He could be in all kinds of trouble, Chloe cried. Berry and Dolly heard all the fuss and set out to find the naughty chick. They looked for him everywhere, on the hill, in the mountains, by the lake, in the forest and in the meadow, but he was nowhere to be found. How are we going to find him when it gets dark? Chloe asked, and she started to sob. But then, little lights appeared in the sky. The fireflies had come to help them. We can make light. We'll help you find him, they said. There he is! There he is in the bush! Berry shouted suddenly, and they all ran over. The little canary had fallen asleep in the bush. He was exhausted and shivering. Chloe took him in her wings and hugged him happily. There you are. You should always do as you're told, Christopher said. Chloe flew back to the nest with her chick on her back, and the fireflies danced around them like stars in the sky. The canary family was soon back together again. Good night, little chicks, Chloe whispered happily as she kept them warm under her wings.